Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. It's almost uncomfortable and odd to hear this, but there's an epidemic going on and has nothing to do with disease or something that you can catch or anything like that. But a true Surgeon General is stating it, an epidemic of isolation and loneliness. Who would think? Lots to talk about here. Who is it affecting? I'm wondering if it's a byproduct of COVID and what's going on there. She's got her finger on the pulse of this and so much more. She's part of the founder of an amazing mental health facility that helps people move their lives forward all the time in Massachusetts. New Beginnings is the name of the center, and so great to have her back with us. Our Diamond of the Decade, Sherri Alexandrovich, on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How about yourself?
Really good, really good. Very curious about this. I heard a few years ago that this existed for males 25 to 34. And that even just kind of blew my mind.
Right.
Because I think, that people in that demographic, they're hanging out with their buds, whether they're playing basketball or just, grabbing a beer pool, whatever, they're always connected with it. Not so much. And now we're hearing even more of this isolation and loneliness. Truly an epidemic, right?
That's what they are saying of the Surgeon's General Advisory, and they started collecting this data in 2023. So over the last 2 years, they have been just kind of continuing to get all of these statistics. And one of the really concerning things that I was reading this morning when I just kind of happened upon this article was that lack of social connection can increase the risk of premature death by as much as equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Think about how profound that is. And just, making awareness to what people are going through with the isolation and the loneliness can really kind of help us to create and foster a more connected community. Some of the other percentages that I was reading is 29% increase in heart disease, 32% increase in stroke. And this is from social isolation and loneliness. Specifically, are the increases to all of these dementia. There was a huge increase in people experiencing dementia at an older age who are socially, and I think the key word here is positive social interactions.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I want to make sure that that's really super clear, because if we're in an unhealthy relationship, then that isn't any better than being isolated or loneliness. And in fact, that can actually even be worse and cause to lead to even, more mental health issues than if you were just isolated. So I think it's important to note that healthy social connections is really the key.
Yeah. It's almost like a disclaimer. Let's
right.
Factor that in. But it's been said for quite some time, based on research, that men who are not married don't live as long and don't have the same health situation. Now, I don't know if that's because their wife is nagging them and saying, you got to take care of this, but just by and large, they live longer when they're in a healthy relationship. Why is this coming up now? Do you even think that there is a possibility that it's connected to COVID?
Absolutely, 3,000%.
Wow.
The statistics that have increased from COVID, just in one of the paragraphs that I was reading on this morning, was just trust. People are so much less trusting now than they were prior to COVID. There just are so many other things that have happened during COVID. People lost their homes, they lost their jobs. Kids weren't going to school. Parents were needing to juggle homeschooling. It impacted so many people financially, emotionally. Even the workplace has changed drastically in the last 5 years since COVID. We've gone from being a completely in-person work environment, good, bad, or indifferent, to now it being a large percentage of people are still working remote, or they have hybrid work schedules where, halfway from work and half the time in office and half the time in Zoom. And that in itself is also very isolating. I mean, we've gone from having these social interactions every day with our peers, both either at school or at college or at work, to this whole new world where a lot of the college classes are still Zoom. So that social interaction piece is missing.
So many different angles here. So COVID, isolation, got it. It's almost as if we forgot how to connect. We got disconnected, but we never fully reconnected. And then on the trust issue, if you look back, and this is, me talking to friends and experiencing it and everything, if you look at people who are single and even dating apps, okay, around 21, 22, 23, it was okay. It was all right. And this is, I hear from men, women, everything. It was all right. It was okay. Now it's like a dumpster fire, quote unquote, from a friend, where people aren't being genuine. There's bots out there. People are playing games with others. It just there's no transparency. People are jaded. And a lot of the dating app companies, call it Match, Tinder, Hinge, they're tanking. They're in serious financial trouble, like serious, because people are not paying and not dealing with it. So, and what does that lead to? Well, more isolation, because people just don't want to deal with the garbage that comes along with it now. So I didn't even think of that until you just said this. Like, all of it's crystallizing here, all the pieces coming together.
Right. And just on so many levels, because I'm hearing a lot of the same things, some feedback from clients as well, is just the dating scene and the dating apps that are out there, and how, people are just either putting up pictures that clearly don't look like themselves, or they've, I think that, some people use filters and whatnot, but what I'm hearing is like just a real gross, representation of somebody completely different. Like has nothing to do with themselves. They've just completely, changed what they look like. And I'm always curious to, I would love to have a conversation with somebody who's actually done this, because I'm curious, like, what were your thoughts when you showed up to meet that person in person? Like, what were you thinking was going to happen when you showed up looking 20 years older than your picture? I mean, I'd love to just like have some conversations with people and kind of learn.
Yeah. Because you know that you're pulling a fast one. I gotta believe, you don't look like that.
Of course.
There are a few. There's going to be a little gray, some latitude where somebody thinks, well, that's close enough. That looks close enough to me. Or we're going to factor you out for a moment. For the most part, Yeah. So what do here you are, you want to start a relationship with somebody built on trust.
And you're starting it off with deceit. So it's like, what really do you think that was going to end? And that's a topic in itself, which is, it's really interesting. And I think because of that and other people, just the amount of scamming, the amount of, it's really hard, I think, in today's society in 2025 for people to feel comfortable trusting and putting themselves out there to other people. And I think that people really became, a lot of people got scammed. A lot of people, I had somebody call me one time, and I'll tell you, it was close for me. I had a scam call, and they caught me, and it was like, you have an unpaid fine or registration, or it was something crazy. And they had just kind of caught me. I'm driving to work, and I was like, I don't know. I was in the middle of something else, and I had a lot of other things going on. So I wasn't really I feel like if I had been in a better emotional place that day, I probably would have picked up on it a little bit better. But these guys were good. They're like, this is the police station. You owe X amount of money. Like, you have to come right down. You have to pay. And it was like, they had every answer imaginable for every question. And I'm like, something doesn't feel right about this, but and that's how people get scammed all the time. You talk about social isolation. It's people don't want to pick up their phones anymore.
You just reminded me, somebody I know's ex-husband got scammed. Dating app, connected with a woman. She has hardships and just needed, this was it, needed money for toys for her kids for Christmas. He got sucked into the rabbit hole. Here it comes. $800,000. This is real.
Oh my God.
This is over the summer,
Oh my God.
like midsummer, to the point where the FBI got involved. There's nothing they could do. They can't trace it back. Here's the heartbreaker. He had to sell his house. He can't afford it.
Oh my God.
Real. This is real. So, and that gets me back to that word you said before, trust. Where did the trust go? Because it seems like a lot of this we don't want to, but we're kind of centering on that theme. Where did the trust go?
I think during COVID, there were just so many people that were trying to figure out how to make money. And, for whatever their reasonings are, that they've become scam artists, or they've just perfected the art of scamming during COVID because they had no other job. I'm not really sure, but it definitely, I would say since 2020, the amount of loans or people's credit that's being affected. Now, we have with New Beginnings, I have an unemployment consultant that monitors our unemployment and things like that, people who file and whatnot.
Sure.
And I cannot tell you the amount of emails that I got from our consultant saying, somebody had filed for unemployment that are employees of mine, current employees that are not filing for unemployment. And that's the first tick off, is that somebody stole your identity, is that now somebody's filing under your name, your social security. And so we have to reach out to the employee and let them know you need to run your credit check and check down, cut down you check on your credit cards, and just be mindful of everything that's going through, because especially in the world of DocuSign, I mean, think about like loans and
didn't think of that. That's a big one there.
Huge.
Who's to say who's signing that document if they're them?
Right, exactly.
Not even your signature.
No, because you're agreeing to an electronic signature via DocuSign. Absolutely. I would suggest for people that you can, when you sign anything electronically with DocuSign, it saves. So if you create a DocuSign login and password, then anything that you ever save will get saved in that DocuSign portal. And that way there you have that kind of a point of reference of something that you signed or didn't sign. If somebody ever tried to misrepresent something that you signed or took a document or altered it, I think that it's important that we have to just be super mindful to always be careful on what we're signing and who we're giving our credit card information to.
I never create that account because it's just like one more layer. I just want to get this done and move on. But yeah, and maybe if you sign into the account, like let's say somebody sends you what looks like a DocuSign. Mm-hmm. There's many other PDF generators out there that are signable, but they can make it look like it's legit. And then you let's say you sign in, you don't even see the document. It doesn't even exist in there. And I got to believe also maybe they hold IP addresses of people that upload documents. So maybe there's some more accountability, but okay. Something to know.
Yeah, kind of things to think about it. It's I think that it's sad because people are untrusting right now with just cause. And I think that there are still people who continue to misrepresent. And that makes it really difficult for us to increase our social interactions and feel good about it, and be able to find really good, positive people that we want to have in our life that we can trust to share things with, and yep. So you were saying the statistics of married men versus men who about people just, is it that the wives are quote nagging or doctor's appointments? I think that companionship in general, whether it be a wife or a husband or even just a friend, I think that when you have that social interaction, we're always looking out for one another. It doesn't necessarily have to be a husband or a wife, or it could be a friend, people that we're close with, just reminding them, hey, you should go get that looked at, or you should go to the doctor, or do you need a ride home from, having whatever procedures coming up, and offering those things to our friends just so that they don't feel like they don't have anybody that means. So if they're not married, or they don't have a significant other, or they don't have close family members, putting ourselves out there to say, hey, do you need a ride? Or, I don't know what relationships people have with their friends, but with my friend group, I mean, we talk pretty openly about, oh, do you need a ride to the doctors, or do you have a day surgery, or what's, I mean, at our age, we just kind of talk about what ailments that we have coming up.
Yeah.
That's
Hey, can you drop me off and pick me up for the colonoscopy? I
that was
appreciate it.
exactly the word that was coming to my mind, because
Yeah.
that's exactly the scenario at our age, right?
Yeah.
Is perfect. So, but think about if you are socially isolated and you don't have somebody that can take you. How do you get your medical needs met when you have to have a procedure where
Yeah.
you're not allowed to drive yourself home from?
And it's
Or
got to be somebody who signs for you. It can't just be Uber.
right, exactly. And so, when you're thinking about, and I guess for me, one of the things when I was reading about this social isolation and this epidemic is that it just reaches so much bigger, so much further, because all of these areas are impacted. It's not just about our social mental health, it's about our physical mental health. It's about having somebody to look out for us, or that we can bounce ideas off of, that can give us rides to places, that can support us if we need help getting to an appointment, or if a friend is sick, or even for childcare. There are so many things socially that we could put ourselves out there for, to check in on our neighbors or check in on our friends, and be able to just let them know that we're here if you need somebody to talk to.
So, what is the answer? Or is there an answer, or many different ones?
Yeah, I think that there are so many different answers to that, and it's again, it's everything is just individualized, but. So that's a hard one to give advice to, because you say put yourself out there, get out on, if you're wanting to date somebody, and the go-to has always been a dating app. But then you think about all the people who get discouraged on dating apps because of people scamming, or catfishing, I think is what they call it, or pretending that they're somebody that they're not, or people that are just out there to play games and not
Yeah.
be serious about it. There was at one point, and I don't know if they still have it anymore, but prior to COVID, there used to be a Facebook app where it was not a dating app, but it was like a social activity type of a thing, where you could find where other people were getting together to either go hiking or go bowling, or and it was just kind of like a place where people could go socially just to connect.
I think back, I want to say like 8 years or so, meetup. That was kind of
Yes,
big.
yes, that was the name of it. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I
one. And just you said Facebook. There are quite a few Facebook groups where you put in an interest. Like I'm a member of a bunch of different kayaking groups. Um, didn't have enough time over the summer. I should have made the time to go more, even just by myself. But I could have met up with some of those people. And then there's just groups in general that do things here and there or whatever. But it's, you still have, I hate to say it, but you still have to be careful. You have to, vet out who you're dealing with, what type of event it is. I guess the bottom line is you got to start somewhere. So start becoming friendly with people, and then you click with a few, and then they kind of lead you on in the direction where you want to go. What about that person? They're doing this. Is that any good? Yeah, whatever. But that's I don't know about dating apps, but just in general, if you're just looking for people just to
right.
connect with, to do activities with, there's also a group in our area, ladies who love adventure. I have a couple of friends that are part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that if you look for things, you can find them, but it's hard, right? Because we work all day and we get home and we're tired, and you hear all of these negativity, about people being scammed or people not being genuine or authentic, and you don't want to kind of put yourself out there for that. But think about the bigger cause, think about the bigger benefit, which is all of these statistics that I just talked about: the increase in heart rate, increase in dementia, increase in stroke, premature death. All of these stem from being isolated and being lonely. And so sometimes we have to kind of put ourselves out there just a little bit to take a chance, and a cautious chance, I think, is important. And also colleagues, talking to people when you go out, saying thank you when you're at a drive-through. I think that just the world could be so much kinder.
So there's a lot going on here. That now we're going a little bit deeper, maybe woo for some, but it's been said that the positivity goes a long way. where if you have positive energy, you're going to attract it. It's going to come to you, where you could just be walking into a store and you connect with somebody, and then here's a great example. Here you go. Here's one. I just thought of it. Last weekend, I went to see a tribute band. Just went with some friends and just hanging out there. And I noticed a guy who goes to the gym I go to. Okay. And he seems like a nice person. Like his energy, I'm going to admit, I read people and I'm like, yeah, he seems like a good guy. And just saw him for a second there. Hey, aren't you from? We exchanged names and everything. What's going on here? And I'm going to be very transparent. It's kind of funny. I was at this event. My ex showed up. I haven't been in the same place ever. Mm-hmm. So I see him at the gym that Monday, which is last Monday, and we start talking. His ex showed up too. So like we had a common thing going on there. And it's like, then I learned, he's from that area. I go everywhere. I've never been to that little restaurant on the water. He's like, yeah, I've been there. I grew up there. Blah, blah, blah. So I just met a new person, and it just seems like, good people. So,
and that's the thing. I was out Saturday night and kind of sitting having dinner, and a couple had walked in, and she just was walking, and all of a sudden she just collapsed on the floor, just collapsed, like right on the floor. And I turned around and kind of looked, and nobody else is like, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, is her husband going to help her up? Like, kind of what was the scenario? And so I got up to help her and kind of like helped her up and was, sat with her on the couch for a few minutes, like the little lounge chair over here. And so she just, all she kept repeating is, why are you being so nice to me? Like, thank you so much. And so like her hair was hot. So I had her hair up, and I, was kind of like, just like getting it off of her neck, and just like, I'm like, you're going to be fine. Take a deep breath. Like, whatever she was anxious about. And so I'm kind of like talking her through it, and about 15 minutes goes by, and her breathing re-regulates, and she's fine, and she's able to kind of get back up. But she just was so surprised. Like, she just was she just kept saying, thank you for being so nice to me. Like, thank you so much for being nice to me. And I thought, wow, what a sad world that we live in, that we're so surprised when somebody just stops to help you.
Yes. Yeah.
The kindness of it is just.
And on the reverse of that, and it could even be part of meeting people, don't be afraid to ask for help. Even if it's a stranger, we forget, we feel like a burden. We don't want to be that person, but you're actually doing the person you're asking for help from a favor, because they can engage, makes them feel good. If they can't, they'll say they can't. Hey, I'm busy. I can't, whatever. But it's doing something for them. We don't look at it that way. We just look at it that we're being a burden on somebody else. Final question. Question. This stuff takes courage. To join a group and just show up. It's awkward. You feel maybe like a loser, and all of those things that come along with it, all normal. How do you get past that? Is there a way, or just like, No,
I would say, what? For every negative that you have, I would counter it with 3 positives. It's really just about the messages that we're giving ourselves. And as much as we have all this negative self-talk, we also have the possibility and ability for positive self-talk. Think about it. Why is the first thought that we have in our mind, why do we put that in stone as gospel? Because we do. If it's negative, we will just like set it in stone. You're right. That's the way that it's got to be. Why? Why do we put so much weight and so much emphasis on negativity when we could just as easily say something positive to ourselves? Why stop at that first negative talk, the first negative sentence that we say to ourselves? There's always an alternative. There's always an other side of it.
Is it that we're also wired to protect and right? So we're going to the negative, the worst case scenario. So we're going there as a safety measure or safety mechanism to keep us safe. So what do I got to watch out for? Well, what you got to watch out for something. It's going to be negative. Let's.
Yeah. But so we as we're watching out for something, what are we doing? We're increasing our isolation, and we're increasing our loneliness, because by being cautious and by not wanting to take a chance, all we're doing is isolating ourselves more. So now we're negatively reinforcing all of that negative self-talk versus it really just takes one sentence change, or just one word, just using the word and instead of but. Just one thing in there just changes the whole dialogue, which changes the outcome of it. It's really just how we perceive something. I mean, think about the person on the road who's screaming and yelling at you. What is your response to that? Right? We have two choices in that moment. We can get upset and angry and respond back, or we can say, wow, this guy's having a really crappy day. Maybe he should go home and get off the road.
Well, the other part is everybody's thinking the same. We're all, you show up at an event by yourself. You're looking to meet some friends. Others are doing that. And we forget about that. We think we're the only one, but everybody's kind of feeling all the same way.
Right. And it takes one person to just be like, hey, how you doing today? Or just,
yeah.
You ever been here before? Or what's this all about? Just some form of kindness to introduce yourself and to open that dialogue. And that's hard. I get that that's hard. I mean, I'm certainly, outside of work, I am not the biggest extrovert that there is. I mean, I tend to kind of stay to myself a little bit more unless, I see that somebody needs something. But other than that, I get it. I can understand that, not wanting to always be the person that's the social igniter,
I think there's commonalities with all of us, but we don't see them. If you start talking and having a conversation like we are now, we just filled a half hour about this, and I was thinking this, but I don't know, could we? Is it big? Yes, it is. There's different ways to look at it, different connections, like the scamming thing, the docus. I just signed a DocuSign Friday, and it was pretty substantial. Now I'm like, all right.
I'm going to go and save that in my folder so I have it for the future. See?
I just learned, a trick. Log in, create one. It's worth it, the time invested. Yes. This is just a little piece of what you offer. newbeginningswc.com?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for today. Like a lot of things exchange. I want to say I'm surprised about it being an epidemic, but unfortunately I'm not. After hearing that younger men were dealing with this a few years ago. Now it's even way more widespread.
Yeah, right. I was surprised myself, to be honest with you. I was surprised that the Surgeon General had actually put out an article, like an 81-page article I was reading today. 81 pages on that it is an epidemic. Isolation and loneliness is now an epidemic warning that's out there.
And the health ramifications of it being equivalent to 15 cigarettes a day. Whoa. Yeah, and that's big. That's big.
That's huge.
Well, they say that sitting is the new smoking. So I guess this is kind of the same. You know? Wow. Thank you for today. Thank you for your insight, what you do to help people, Sherri Ann. Really appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you next week.
You got it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.